There is a force that sleeps within you, coiled, silent, ancient. It waits not in your muscles, not in your mind, but in the deepest, most forgotten layer of your being. When it awakens, it doesn't just change your life, it destroys who you thought you were. Throughout history, serpents have slithered through the mythologies of every great civilization, but this is no coincidence. The serpent is not merely a symbol. It is a living archetype, a sacred code that echoes a deeper truth about the very nature of consciousness and power. What if the serpent in Eden wasn't the villain, but the key to divine knowledge? What if the dragons of old were metaphors for inner forces waiting to be tamed? What if the coiled serpent depicted in ancient Indian, Egyptian, and Mesoamerican art represented not evil, but evolution? In this video, we will journey beyond religious dogma and surface-level symbolism to uncover the esoteric mystery of serpent energy, what it truly is, why it's been feared and hidden, and how it holds the potential to awaken your highest self. We will explore its appearances in ancient cultures, its profound metaphysical role, and most importantly, what this dormant force means for you. But be warned, this knowledge is not for the faint of heart. To understand the serpent is to understand yourself. The question is, are you ready to shed your skin? Long before modern science dissected the human body and labeled its parts, the ancients spoke in symbols, living, breathing metaphors that encoded truths not meant for the intellect, but for the soul. And one of the most powerful of these symbols was the serpent. In the ancient Indian tradition, it was called Kundalini, a coiled serpent resting at the base of the spine, curled 3.5 times around the root of existence. The yogis didn't see it as a mere energy. They saw it as Shakti, the divine feminine power, slumbering within the human vessel. When awakened, it surged upward through the chakras like a serpent climbing a sacred ladder, bringing enlightenment, ecstasy, and cosmic union. But India was not alone. In Egypt, the serpent appeared as the uraeus, the cobra on the pharaoh's crown, symbolizing divine authority and awakened consciousness. In Mesoamerica, the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl represented the marriage of earth and sky, body and spirit. Even in the Norse tradition, the world serpent Jörmungandr encircled the earth, biting its own tail. A symbol of eternity, the Ouroboros, the endless cycle of life, death, and rebirth. So why then was this sacred symbol demonized in the West? The answer lies in control. When knowledge empowers the individual to become divine, institutions lose their hold. The serpent in the book of Genesis, once a messenger of gnosis, was twisted into the archetype of temptation and sin. He was no longer the awakener, but the deceiver. This inversion was not accidental. It was a strategic erasure of mystical empowerment in favor of obedience and fear. What was once sacred became profane. What was once your divine inheritance became your spiritual taboo. The ancients understood something we have forgotten, that within every human lies the power of the gods, coiled like a serpent, waiting not to strike, but to rise. And now, as humanity approaches a spiritual turning point, the question resurfaces, will we reclaim the serpent's wisdom, or continue to fear the very force that can liberate us? To truly grasp the nature of serpent energy, we must go inward, beyond myth, beyond symbol, beyond intellect, into the realm of living energy. Because serpent energy is not a concept to be memorized, it's an experience, a process, a fire. In the yogic sciences, this energy is known as Kundalini, derived from the Sanskrit root kundal, meaning a coiled or a spiraled. Picture a serpent resting at the base of your spine, deep in the Muladhara chakra, guarding the entrance to a sacred inner temple. It sleeps in most people, undisturbed by a life of distraction, fear, and sensory overload. But in the one who begins to awaken, something changes. This energy begins to stir, and when it rises, it doesn't just travel upward. It transforms everything it touches. Each chakra, those spinning energy centers aligned along the spine, is like a lock, and the serpent is the key. As it ascends, it breaks through mental conditioning, trauma, and egoic patterns. It brings heightened awareness, emotional catharsis, and moments of piercing clarity, but it also burns. It tests, it purifies, and yet Kundalini is just one interpretation. In ancient Chinese Taoism, the serpent is mirrored in the coiling of qi, the subtle life force energy that flows through meridian. The microcosmic orbit meditation speaks of circulating energy from the tailbone up to the crown, much like the serpent's path through the spine. In both systems, awakening isn't about worship, it's about inner alchemy. Here's what's rarely told. Serpent energy is intelligent. It is not a mechanical force. It's conscious. It knows where to go, what to heal, and what to destroy. It reveals what you've buried, both divine and dark. And it's not limited to spiritual seekers. Artists and mystics, warriors, lovers, all have felt it, even unknowingly. It's that moment when time collapses and something ancient stirs inside you. The rush of intuition, the flash of creativity, the surge of primal instinct. These are all whispers of the sleeping serpent. But beware, awakening it isn't a romantic fantasy. In esoteric traditions, Kundalini is referred to as the double-edged sword. If guided properly, it leads to liberation. If mishandled, it can cause imbalance, psychological fragmentation, physical illness, or spiritual confusion. This is why it was once passed down only in secrecy through oral traditions and direct transmission. The ancients knew not everyone is ready for the serpent's gaze, so why pursue it? Because serpent energy is not just a mystical force, it is the raw blueprint of evolution encoded in your body. It is the bridge between your human limitations and your cosmic identity. It is not there to serve your desires. It's there to dismantle them until only truth remains. You don't control the serpent. You become it. And as it coils upward, so too does your consciousness rise from survival to mastery, from instinct to insight, from identity to infinity. But this is only the beginning, because what most don't realize is the serpent doesn't just rise, it returns. We often imagine spiritual awakening as a straight ascent, from lower to higher, from darkness to light. But the serpent teaches a deeper truth. Awakening is not linear. It is cyclical, spiral, paradoxical. The serpent rises, and then it returns, not to sleep, but to integrate. This is the forgotten half of serpent wisdom, the return to the roots. In ancient tantric philosophy, this is called the descent of grace. Once the Kundalini has pierced the crown and united with cosmic consciousness, it does not remain there. It flows back down, not as a seeker, but as a master. This descent is not regression, it is embodiment. The awakened soul doesn't float above the world, it walks within it, now fully aware. This is the archetype of the realized sage, the yogi who no longer escapes the body but sanctifies it. The serpent energy grounds back into matter, making the body itself a temple, the world a living mandala. Herein lies a mystery lost to modern spiritual culture. The serpent doesn't take you away from the world, it brings you back to it, transformed. This is mirrored in the symbol of the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. It is the cycle of creation and destruction, of ascent and return, of awakening and integration. It's not a beginning or an end, it's eternity in motion. But why has this sacred truth been so obscured? Because serpent energy threatens the structures built on fear. Religions feared it because it offered direct access to the divine without intermediaries. Governments feared it because it awakened sovereign beings who could not be ruled. Even some spiritual movements feared it, preferring safe dogma over dangerous freedom. The serpent was turned into a devil, a deceiver, a symbol of evil. But in truth, it only reflects what already exists within you. If you are filled with fear, it will amplify fear. If you are seeking truth, it will burn away every illusion to reveal it. This is why purity of intention is essential. The mantra eso hams, meaning I am that, aligns your consciousness with the universal. Chanting seed sounds, bija mantras, like lam, vam, ram resonates with the lower chakras and clears energetic debris. The serpent rises best through resonance, not resistance, intention, and humility. Never approach this path with arrogance. Kundalini is not a toy, it's sacred fire. Approach it with devotion, not desire. Set your intention not to gain power, but to remember truth. The serpent responds to sincerity, not spectacle. Now understand this. You don't need to awaken the serpent to benefit from its energy. Even in its dormant state, its presence brings transformation. Just aligning your life with its principles, balance, breath, purity, presence will catalyze inner evolution. You may notice changes in your dreams, your sensitivities, your intuition. You may feel waves of emotion, forgotten memories surfacing, subtle vibrations in the spine or skull. These are signs of inner realignment, not madness, but awakening. And when challenges arise, fatigue, fear, discomfort, return to the breath, return to stillness. The serpent moves at her own pace in her own time. Above all, listen to your body. It is the temple, and the serpent, in truth, is the goddess within. This journey is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been before the world taught you to forget. There is a force within you that predates time. It sleeps quietly, watching from the depths of your spine, waiting for the moment you're ready, not just to awaken, but to transform, to shed the skin of old beliefs, limitations, and fears. To remember that you are not merely flesh and bone, you are fire and frequency, myth and mystery, serpent and star. This energy is not a fantasy. It is not fiction. It is the inheritance buried in your being, suppressed by society, ignored by science, feared by religion, yet known intimately by the ancients. You are not here to worship the serpent. You are here to become it, fluid, fierce, wise, and whole. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop seeking and start remembering? Are you willing to let go of who you think you are, to become who you truly are? Because the path of serpent energy does not promise comfort. It promises truth. It won't offer you escape. It will hand you a mirror and burn away the illusion. And on the other side of that fire is freedom. So begin. Sit in silence. Breathe. Feel. Invite. The serpent is already listening. And if this message stirred something ancient in you, it's no coincidence. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to awaken. If you felt the call, share your experience below. Let this be a sanctuary for seekers. And if you're ready to go deeper into the mysteries, subscribe, because this journey has only just begun. The serpent is rising. Will you rise with it?